Hi folks, Joseph Kursky here with you to talk about how to use a 3D globe to teach about some really key issues of our time, and that is population change. Now, a colleague of mine here at Esri created this wonderful 3D globe based on the ArcGIS platform. So the important thing to note about the platform is that, as the name implies, you can build things on top of it. So she actually got the population data from CDAC, and it's important to note whenever you're using a 2D or a 3D digital map these days to ask where did the data come from, who created it, how often was it curated and updated, can I trust it, what scale was it created at, and so on. So you've got some metadata here in this tool, but also being able to dip into the Arc API, the ArcGIS API, the Applications Programming Interface, and you can actually, and your students can actually build your own 2D and 3D maps. So I wanted to plant that seed. But stepping back, even using this 3D globe as an instructional tool, I think is so useful for a variety of reasons that we'll get into. But it invites inquiry, it invites asking deep and rich and thoughtful questions. It's about looking at solid content, which is population over space and time. And having it in this ready-to-use format is so easy to use, and it can work on any device. Let me lower this so you can see this. Look, this is actually running inside a web browser. It's running inside a web browser, so you've got any device, anywhere, anytime capabilities. In another video, just so you know, I have a series of reasons why I think 3D globes and also 2D investigations with ArcGIS Online using web mapping applications, story maps, 3D globes, etc., and ArcGIS Online itself with the analytical capabilities that it has are definitely a worthwhile endeavor. It's a tool that I think you should be using. Not just if you're a geography or an environmental studies professor or teacher, but if you're in sociology or business or engineering or human health or public administration, in other biology, in mathematics, in history, in other fields, you should be using these tools because they get into real data, real issues, they're interactive, they invite problem solving, investigation, research. Okay, so, and they're easy to use. So for all those reasons and more, I would highly encourage you to use these tools. Okay, all that being said, we are now ready to dip into this particular world population count globe. Now when it opens, and you've got the URL right there, when it opens, folks, you've got, as you can see here, the ability to toggle. So take a look at the population spikes, right? There are these cylinders that extend out of the surface of the Earth. And you can see as you go from 2000 to 2020 how certain areas of the world change and other areas don't change very much. So some change a lot, some change not very much. Also, number of persons per grid unit. Okay, now this resolution of this grid is 110 kilometers by 110 kilometers. So scale matters, resolution matters with any data, not just this. Okay, so as we interact with this, you've got, again, 2000 to 2020. Gosh, I can see right away, if I tilt the globe in various ways, I can really get a sense for population distribution. And then I wonder, why is the distribution, why is the density so little in certain areas of the world? And then I could compare that to, let's say, desert regions, very cold climates, for example, northern Siberia, the Gobi, the Arabian Desert, the Sahara, Central Australia, and so on. But I also, since it's a GIS, these aren't just graphics floating around in cyberspace. They actually have intelligence built behind them. So there's actually a database for the data that you can see here. Yes, indeed. There's actually information in here. So if I zoom in here, I can see, gosh, look at this. I've got all kinds of information here at my fingertips that I can delve into. So now the question is, there's another question. Why are certain continents so sparsely populated? And other continents, countries, regions so highly populated? Another question you could pose is, look at the population density along the coasts versus in the interiors of continents. Again, you've got a very nice tool at your fingertips here. Again, it's not the only map or globe that you would teach with, but it could be a supplement to the existing map of ecoregions, of cities, of population. And indeed, in some of the other videos on this channel, you can see some other population and cities 2D and 3D maps that I invite you to explore. So it can be a nice supplement to those. But right here, I think the main points are teaching tool, but also you can create your own visualizations like this using the ArcGIS platform. So just take a region of the world, for example. Let's say we're interested in, sub-Saharan Africa and the high amount of population change in that area. So even at this scale, I can see, wow, look at these towers coming up from Ghana and Nigeria, for example. But other areas of the world actually are increasing only a small amount, again, for various reasons, which are wonderful to dig into. Birth rate, immigration rate, perception, economics, all kinds of reasons. But if I go into another region of the world and I take a look at, for example, Southern Europe, it's not really changing that much. There are a few places, but even some of these, see if you can determine which of these cells might actually go down in population rather than increase. That would be fascinating. Yep. Yeah, very interesting. So again, 3D visualization tools, and you've got the number of persons per grid unit, and you could do a little math integration, you could do a little history instruction, you could do some geography instruction, and certainly environmental studies, looking at resource allocation and distribution, looking at geopolitical instability or stability as the case may be around the world, and so on. So use these tools. They're at your fingertips, and they're based on the ArcGIS platform from Esri. Thanks, and happy mapping.